morning, students. Welcome to our English literature classes. So as you all know, we have been talking about this lesson number 5, Jane Eyre, and today is the day we will talk about its last stop, climax of this given extract, which was written by Charlotte Bronte. So students, before I will start the last portion, the climax of our story, firstly I would like to share a short brief glance for this painful portrait about the women in 18th to 19th century in England. Okay, so a girl, Jane Eyre, was an orphan girl, 10 years old. And what is orphan? As you all know, who doesn't have parents, both its mother and father are not alive. Okay, so she was not in good atmosphere because after her mother and father death, Jane start living with her maternal uncle. And what is this? The brother of her mother. But again, unfortunate accident took place, and her uncle was no more. So as we all know, he was a kind person, but his wife, Mrs. Reed, was a wicked and cunning lady, and always tortured the Jane Eyre, always used to hurt the little girl. And finally, after all this misbehaviors, Mrs. Reed got her enrolled in a charitable school, and that was the Lowwood. That was the school Lowwood. We all know the name of the school, that is Lowwood. Okay, but the experience of Lowwood was also very bitter for this little girl. It was made for orphans and running on donation amount. The teachers of this institution were careless, unfriendly also, and rude. But in such a terrible situation, there was a silver lining, Mrs. Temple. She was always very kind and humble with the others, and she was the headmistress of the place also. Okay, so in our second part, that was Mr. BrockleHost, and he punished the Jane Eyre. You know that he punished her very badly for no reason. So along this incident, a good thing also happened here. What is this? That was Helen was found as a very good friend of Jane. Helen always used to supported Jane under bad circumstances, and after, okay, here you can see she's always tried to support her. Okay, so in the third and last part has been started from here, and that is a deadly springtime. This was a deadly springtime. Okay, so after this, our last part has been started, and in this sequel, the first part, this is our first part, that you know, that is shows the starting of a happier life of Jane Eyre. Okay, this part, as you all know, she was inspired by Helen and Mrs. Temple. Okay, and she starts studying hard, spend her time for her hobbies and for favorite subjects like French and drawing. As you all know, you can see here she's doing the drawings and reading also. Okay, so in this part, this is all happening here, and so let us move to our last part. So this is the end of winter, and we are going to move our last part. This is our last part of the a deadly springtime. Okay, this is the last part of the chapter. So from the starting, I'm going to start from the very first picture, springtime. Okay, so open the page number 78, please. For this story, I'm starting with the start from here. First picture, springtime. Spring had arrived. Okay, here from this picture, first picture, spring had arrived, and at last the weather gets warmer. Flowers grow quickly in the boggy land around the school, so do dangerous germs. Half the girls fall ill, and many of them from here, and many of them die. Mr. BrockleHost, the coward, stays away, but Miss Temple bravely nurses her people. So, my dear students, what actually happened, just like I said before, that the first part of a deadly springtime was a pleasant picture. That was a pleasant picture. Okay, that was a very pleasant picture of Jane Eyre's life. But after the winters, starting with springs, the trouble also increases. In the starting of the season, all looks very beautiful. Flowers grow quickly in the boggy land. A new word again. You have a new word, boggy land here, boggy land. So that meant by a land with full of moisture, very soft and very suitable for the flowers and new plants growth. And you can understand marshy. Okay, in your geography you can also read this word. So as I said before, the season looks very pleasant, but a silent disease spreaded all over the Lowwood, very silently as it is spreaded there. That was a highly infectious disease, that is typhus, and there was no proper medication for this deadly disease. So half of the students, half of the girls were fell ill, and many of them die in the lack of proper treatment. You can see here. Okay, many of them die without any treatment. So in this painful situation, everyone wanted the support of Mr. BrockleHost, the owner of this school, but he turned out to be very cowardly and went far away from that place to save his own life. Okay, but Miss Temple kept on serving her students day and night. Okay, so in our third picture, we are going to take this picture now. But even Miss Temple's loving care cannot save Helen. Her disease is deadly. But what happened here? Jane's closest friend Helen was succumbed to the disease, trapped in this disease. Although Miss Temple took care of her a lot. So is it clear? Okay, I'm going to take now the fourth one. Jane knows that Helen is very, very ill. I'm going to take from here. Jane knows that Helen is very, very ill, and she desperately wants to see her. Helen's nurses try to send her away. So she here we can see here she tries to let her go back. They are very poorly. They just wanted to uh, make her understand. Okay, so this is I'm going to take this. Are you awake? But she creeps into Miss Temple's room where Helen is being looked after. Okay, so we are going to take from fourth as well as fifth picture. Knowing that Helen's illness is dangerous, very dangerous, Jane rushes to meet her, but nurses stopped her. You can see here she just tries to stop her here, but still she just goes into that room without telling anyone, because a word here is creeps. What is creeps? To move very silently, okay, without any noise, just enter in the room. Okay, so this was the scene. You can hear. You came to say goodbye, she's asking. Who? Helen asking here. You came to say goodbye. So finally Jane found Helen, and Helen was still looking very calm, very quiet, peaceful, but she was seems to be very tired also and pale, all signs of her deadly illness. And she still believe in God and that he always loves her. This scene tries to show all these things here. Okay, let us move on. Seventh picture, second last picture. Okay, this one. They said good night each other. They said good night each other. Jane is heartbroken. She does not want to lose her good kind friend. She climbs on here. She climbs onto Helen's bed and wraps her arms around her here. Okay, and last one, very very last scene I'm going to take, that is how Miss Temple finds them. Both are very peaceful here. That is how Miss Temple finds them. Both are very peaceful. Jane is asleep, but Helen has died. Okay, students, our seventh picture, firstly I'm going to take seventh picture, that is shows the deep love and bond about two friends, in between two friends. We also have a question, question number 6 in our question answer section. So this is a glance of that question answer. So Jane knew very well that the disease in which Helen was trapped could be fatal, could be we can say harmful for Jane also. Although she stayed with her whole night there, even she climbed to her same bed and grabbed her very tightly, very affectionately, full of care in the morning. But here the scene, next scene here I'm going to explain. In the morning time, Miss Temple came to her room to ask about the health of Helen, and she found Jane also with her. Miss Temple wants to aware Jane that she should go now, because it can be very dangerous for her too. But she was only able to wake up one of them because Jane was sleeping, but Helen was dead. Okay, so students, this is the end of our very heart touching chapter, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, and I hope you have understand the message given in this chapter, the message that was woven with friendship and love. Okay, so as far as I think, you all have read this chapter several times, and read once more, and go through with my videos, and we will meet in my next class. So till then, keep learning, be healthy and cheerful. Thank you.